Okay, I thought I'd do another video here. These are some, this is a piece of art glass that we have laying around here, and I was just photographing them. And what I did is I photographed this glass artwork with an LED flashlight, um, and then just put the light in different areas and kind of drew with the light a little bit. So what I have here is I have two picked out, and these are both, the camera hasn't moved or anything. The only thing that's changed in either one of these images is the light itself, where it's coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these together in Photoshop layers. First I want to bring them up in Camera Raw and do a quick edit on those. So I'm going to do them individually, and I want to get these white balanced. Let's find a nice white area. That might be a little bit too much. Let me cool it back down a bit. There we go. And I want to boost up the clarity. And let's see what auto gives me there. No, don't like that. I want to keep, you can see the blue spaces and the red spaces in here. This is how I have mine set up, so I can see where the maximum blacks and the maximum whites are. And I find that very helpful. If I want to, I can turn them on and off with this. That's for the blacks, this one's for the whites. And I'm going to recover some of those whites a little bit. I want to keep the blacks as much as I can. I also want to boost up the exposure just a bit on this one, and bring the blacks in a bit. And that should be good for this one. And then here I'm just going to find a nice area to try and get a white balance on. And I want to do a little recovery to bring down those highlights a little bit. And I think bring the exposure up a touch and bring those blacks in. And there again, I want to see good blacks on these. It's just how I like for the look. And we'll just click done. It'll take a minute for those to update. And you should see the preview change. It's already changed over here, and now it's changed over here. So now you can see them side by side. So now what I want to do is bring them into Photoshop. And what I'll do is go under Tools. This is from Bridge right here. Go into Photoshop. And I want to load into Photoshop Layers. And now it'll load both those images directly into one Photoshop document with two layers. You can do this with 3, 4, 5, however many layers you want to. Right now, especially just for this example, I just want to use 2. And from here, you can see that's the bottom layer, that's the top layer. I think I'm going to put the lighter one on top. And I'm going to set that to either lighten or screen on the mode. And it looks like I might have a touch of camera movement in there or something. Maybe just a touch. No, though, that's the way it seems to look. Okay. So that's with, that's with lighten. That's with screen. I'm going to go with lighten. And I can take that down. And if I take it all the way down to 0 in the opacity, you can just see the underlying layer, and this is with it on top of it. So I want to do something else here, and I'm going to take this and go Hue Saturation, and it automatically put it in so it's linked to the bottom one. If yours doesn't do that, then you can simply click here and that'll unlink it or link it. And this is in CS5. I don't know if CS4 has this option. I know CS3 didn't. But this allows any color changes I make just to occur to the layer beneath it. So I'm going to take and adjust that, play around with it, increase saturation, change the colors around of that particular layer. I really kind of like that blue. So I think I'm going to keep a nice dense blue and decide how much saturation. Probably right about there. And here you can see it without that. So all I really did was boost up the saturation a little bit and move the color over a little bit on this. And turning it off, you can see just the underlying layer. Now, one thing, it might be interesting to see how well that does if I do that. Take this back to normal for the bottom layer. What I've done is I've swapped the layers. I want to see which one would, if it looks better with the darker layer on top or on the bottom. So I'm going to come in here, link that to that layer, and then I'm going to change this layer to lighten. And it doesn't really look like it did that much difference. If I go back in my history, and yeah, it really doesn't seem to make any difference on that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on your blend modes and so forth. So I'll just go ahead and leave it here. Actually, I think I will take it back to where it was before. And that's basically how that works. You can also adjust the color for the bottom layer if you want to. Do another hue saturation here. You can use other techniques as well. But we can then make the other layer a little more reddish or greenish or yellow or orangish, however you want to do it. And it's fun to kind of play around with it and see what you come up with. Alright, that does it for this. Thank you.